we are very, very excited to host a special live interview with Carlos Slim Domit and Peace One Day founder Jeremy Gilley.
Yeah, thanks, Jules. He's the chairman of the board of Telmex, Grupo Caso, Grupo Sanbonds, American Mobile, as well as being a noted philanthropist. He's a long-time friend of Peace One Day, and I'm very pleased to be talking with him now. Welcome, Carlos Slim Domit.
Hello, Jeremy. Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome, Carlos. So, Carlos, at this stage in humanity's evolution, what plays on your mind the most about how we've reached this point?
Well, I think we have experienced many things. First, we have, through many years, exponential demographic growth. Then we have reached as well a much better economic development. A lot of people has been incorporated these decades into the economy, and that has generated more consumption. And on the other side, I think we are already with a lot of awareness on the actions that we need to take to reverse the damage that we have done to the environment. And as well, I think actions between governments on imposing regulations, on imposing as well incentives, and every time we see more alternatives to reverse this damage. So I think we reach a critical point, and now it's not just the awareness of that critical point, but also the actions that should be taken to reverse this damage.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you. I mean, you're in a really interesting position in relation to, being in Mexico and the businesses that you're involved in. And obviously, you know an awful lot of people. I mean, can you talk about some of the things you're doing to support a more peaceful and sustainable world?
Yes, Jeremy. Well, I will try to address 4 different examples. First one on the building on retail stores. Since some decades ago, we have been trying to build these stores so they can recover rainwater, and use that rainwater to mainly for the restrooms. Putting solar panels to try to do most of the lighting with solar lighting. We have establishing as well water treatment plants, so we can make the stores more efficient and more environmental friendly. On the telecom sector is a booster for being more efficient in most of our carbon footprint. The telecom sector can give tools to any other organization and even to people to be more active and to use less energy and to use less different things that damage the environment. We're moving now with new connectivity protocols with 5G and Wi-Fi 6 that will encourage the possibility of having on a massive scale smart lighting, better mobility control. There will be many initiatives around that I'm sure that it will help. Internally, on America Mobile, we have committed to 1.5 decarbonization to reduce our scope 1 and 2 of CO2 emissions by 52% and try to be net zero before 2050. Then on the foundation, we have established different initiatives. One is an initiative that we're working with the World Wide Fund. One is to protect species like the jaguar in the Chiapas state of Mexico, the blue whale, the white shark, the mariposa monarca, the monarca butterfly, that is very important, and as well addressing the protection of areas mainly in woods and the different ecosystems that we have around Mexico. We just donated to the National University the Pavilion of Biodiversity. Mexico has one of the biggest biodiversity in the world. It's a building with more than 2,000 square meters that will combine exhibition, research laboratories, and that holds more than 3,800 species from Mexico that the National University have, and that now is open to the public. As well, we're working with the Mario Molina Center. Mario Molina was the Mexican Nobel Prize that discovered the ozone layer, and that started giving the actions that we needed to do to reverse it. So we have been working with them, and as well in this pavilion of biodiversity in the National University, there is a place particular for the Mario Molina Center. One of the initiatives that I think is relevant to talk about, it was one of the biggest waste disposals in Mexico City. It was considered one of the biggest environmental liabilities that we used to have, and it's an example of how you can turn things around in big scale. No, it's a place that has more than 150 hectares, 370 acres. It was a project that was built with more than $150 million, and that is generating 5,000 employees, permanent employment. So it was converted, this waste disposable, into an asset for the society that live around. Now it has more than 54 courts for playing different sports open to the public. It has a stadium. It has 2 hospitals. It has 2 universities. And it was two initiatives that were built in this place. One was to generate a network that takes the corrosive liquids from the garbage and send them to a treatment plant. The other is another network that recovers the biogas that the garbage produce, and it goes to an energy plant that produces 4 megawatts. And it stopped sending more than 1,000 parts of suspension to the atmosphere, and it decreased 93,000 tons of CO2 to the atmosphere. It's recovering more than 5,000 hectoliters of water. And I think is one of the examples of how these liabilities that we have in big scale in some cities can be turned around and become something very positive for the environment and very positive for society.
Carlos, yeah, that's amazing. That story is absolutely incredible in terms of what you achieved there. Congratulations, well done. Amazing. So look, what would you say to anyone? We've got a couple of minutes left. I mean, there's so many questions I'd like to ask you, Carlos, as you know, but we need more time. But let me ask you one last question. What would you say to anyone watching, a young person watching, young entrepreneurs, people involved in business, to inspire them on their personal journey to a more peaceful and sustainable world?
Well, I think that we're living in a very important era, Jeremy. I think this new era is characterized because we all have contact with each other. We can be connected with anyone at any time from any place. And that gives us a tool that our voices can be heard and our actions can find a way to be scaled up if they can contribute. So I think it's very important that we prepare ourselves, that we address the things that we believe we should be addressing as generation, and use all these tools to make them reach many people. I think also if we take an example, analyzing these past 2 years, so tough years that we have lived with the COVID, it was amazing to see the collaboration between every community, the medical community, the scientific community, social organizations, companies, governments, and that has shown us that the only way that we can make front to these big adversities that we have is if we collaborate together. So I think we all should be encouraged to try to do our part, but as well to try to promote solutions that can lead our world to a much better place, to reverse the environment damage that we're doing, and of course, as you mentioned, to address that we all want to live in a world in peace, and that we all have the possibility of making our voices heard, and particularly making our suggestions gain scale if they are the right ones.
So Carlos, I've got 20 seconds left. I have to ask you one more question. In a couple of words, where do you draw your inspiration from?
I would say, first of all, in the love of life, the love of the beautiful world that we are living, but particularly my children.
Okay, that's a beautiful thing. I totally agree with you. Yeah, it's all about the family, it's all about the children and our friends and partnerships and collaborations. Well, it's just amazing to have you involved in Climate Action Live. A real privilege. Thank you so much for your time, Carlos Slim Domit, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Jeremy. It's an honor for me to be here.
And thank you, Jeremy, and thank you, the audience, for watching and being a part of Climate Action Live 2022.